Hey, hey, North AT vibes. Ironically, that was the worst time I've had trying to sleep since I've been out here. There's a coffee shop that was pretty decent when I stopped by yesterday. So my plan is I'm going over there right at opening. Hopefully find a place to charge because the plugs in the hotel room were sparking and doing some kind of worrying stuff. And then go back, eat the continental breakfast, fruit as much as I can, and then get moving. It also looks like the weather has shifted and they are now calling for rain for days. Light rain though. I will say light rain probably is not going to speed me up any on the upcoming rock sections. As near as I can tell from looking online, while the northbounders were saying it got hard at Appalachian Gap, most things have the dividing line in at the Long Trail, which will be my next resupply stop in 5 days or so. Have I mentioned lately how the world needs more trail-adjacent coffee shops? I agree. Okay, breakfast burrito, morning coffee, and supplemental cabbage cheese acquired. I just could not fall asleep to save my life last night. I think I was up until 1:30, 2 o'clock, so today might be a little bit rough. Okay, time to go. And I ended up in Santa Fe at the worst possible time for getting a room or getting out of Santa Fe. I am having the easiest time hitching out here in Vermont. I was eating the continental breakfast and drinking more coffee, and the host offered to give me a ride back up the hill, so I am back on trail. I really don't know, based on what I was seeing online last night, how much easier this section is going to be. The northbounders I was talking to all said Johnson to App Gap was the hardest, so a little bit easier, but things online were saying easier at the Long Trail, which is about 57 miles from here, I think. I know the drop down to App Gap was beating the crap out of my knees yesterday. But that's okay. I'm having fun. As long as my knees don't have like sharp pain, I should be pretty good. Looking at far out comments ahead, it does look like water will also be a little bit of a challenge here. There's another dry shelter or two up ahead. Though apparently there is a rain cistern at a ski lodge that is full. I pretty much got my wish list out of that town stop. The one big disappointment was backpacking dinner availability. I went to both of the stores and I was able to find literally everything I wanted, other than I really was hoping for dehydrated beans. Those bean flakes are just so hearty and so quick to rehydrate. That's actually why I've been leaning on boxes more, just so I can keep those. I mix them with minute rice and taco seasoning, but if I can get them out on trail, sometimes I'll just do a straight bag and mix in taco seasoning for flavor. Sadly, none of that, so mashed potatoes and north sides. But only 4 days of that, at which point I will either be out of dinners and I don't have to worry about choking down another north side, or I will be at the Long Trail. I was planning to stay there just because it was a landmark that I remember. That was one of the few things I remember about Vermont, other than the mud and the forest, from my AT hike, and I didn't stay there at the time. And then from there, things will hopefully speed up. After at the Long Trail, I just have Manchester Center, at which point I think it's 82 miles until I'll end at Dalton, because I'm going past the Massachusetts border. We have a one-way rental car potential, we think, at Dalton, which is how I'm going to get down to the Benton Mackay. Jen is going to send me a general delivery box down to Dalton, because at that point I'll have 300 some miles on my shoes, and I'm going to go ahead and swap them out rather than try and push it. These shoes are doing better than the previous models as far as holding up. But the problem is, if all of a sudden I get a crisis and they get too worn, it's basically 2 weeks to get something out here most of the time, between the mailing delay and having to, pick a spot up ahead. And I really don't like sitting around having to wait. So that'll be new shoes, and hopefully that is when I will be able to find an Apple store, swap out for the new phone, and then plan is to jump down to the Benton Mackay in a day or so of driving and get started from there. I know a guy that runs a shuttle down there from PCT and CDT, so I was going to say hi to him and hire him for a ride to the trail. And then if I finish early, we'll see. Most of the other things I was looking at doing were up here, but I don't feel confident enough at this point to spend extra time up in this neck of the woods, because at the very minimum I want to get the long trail and the Benton Mackay done. That was the goal. My fallback at this point is still just, if I get to Springer and I'm early, just loop around and continue north on the Appalachian Trail. Only downside of that is I might end up having to do the Smokies twice, and that area was pretty, but I did not care for the shelter restrictions there. I was much happier on either side of it, where it was just open camping. But trail is trail, and Jen is in agreement that it kind of makes sense for me to come back around November 20th, which will be just enough time for us to do a turnaround and hopefully leave for Bonaire for Thanksgiving scuba trip. So I currently have 4 dinners, about 5-ish days of food. So I may be a little heavier than I need. At the moment I am absolutely heavy, because I also have 2.5 liters of water on my back, which I am intending to drink most of in the next couple of miles to save my knees. Like I said, the first shelter is dry as of the last far out update, but there is a rain barrel up at a ski resort where I can fill up, and then it might be a bit of a challenge later in the day. The other cool thing is, not only do I have a new pair of underwear and a new pair of shorts without the giant hole in the ass where I did that butt plant on a stick the other day waiting for me there, but also that's where that prototype pack from ULA is going to catch up with me. From the pictures, it looked like, amongst other things, it was a newer version of the challenge fabric. It's supposed to be more durable, etc., etc. And fair enough, I'm probably a good test of that. Trail is a 2,500 foot-ish climb back up to 4K or so. But it does look like it's maybe a little more gradual than on the other side. At least a few of those peaks were pretty direct, because who needs switchbacks? Hey, North AT vibes. In these days of GPSs and far out, you generally run into less arguments about where you are. Map and compass, there's always like a confidence percentage. Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm here. But it's rare you're 100% sure. Just ran into somebody headed the other way who was convinced he was headed south, and that Appalachian Gap was the way I was going. Had to tell the guy, no, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I got dropped off at Appalachian Gap. So there's Camel's Hump. So I was looking ahead, and there is a dry gap over some high peaks, and I was a little concerned over the timing just because I can't judge my mileage after that northern section. Just talked to a guy that did this whole section and said it's cruisy up top and plenty of water on the far side of Abram, so that'll be my evening fill-up, I guess. At some point, I'm really going to have to stop making excuses and sandbagging here and start moving reasonably. Can't tell if this is northern AT vibes or if that was long trail vibes. Just ran into a guy, 75 years old, hiking all over the place up here. He says his family used to own this entire area, apparently the Ward Lumber Company. Apparently he is Billy Ward Greyhounds on YouTube these days. I had to keep moving as I left. He was comparing birthdays with another 75-year-old who's up here hiking to meet some friends around Ellen. Here I am complaining about my 44-year-old knees, yada yada. I assume those are some sort of snow shelter. There's my rain barrel. I am so screwed. I keep running into people to chat with. But okay, I drink a bunch of water. I have about half of my liter and a half bottle, and then I have an extra liter. For your worst case, if I have to stop, I can get through on about 3/4 of a liter or so overnight. But near as I can tell, there was a little bit up over here, but the ridge goes pretty well, so hopefully I should be able to get up and over before dark. It's a little afternoon right now. I should be a mile or two towards Ellen, but again, I keep finding people to talk to. The dichotomy has been kind of interesting. I was talking to the guy at the B&B about it. Seems like the other hikers, super friendly. Long trail hikers, section hikers, yada yada. Day hikers, a few of them have been chatty, but mostly they've been doing their own thing, and I feel less remarkable than I did on like the AT or the PCT, where the day hikers were often excited to talk about what I was doing. And then every time I've had to hitch into town, people stop instantly. And I mean, heck, in some cases, in almost every case, they've been going out of their way to do it. But like around town, I seem to be getting like that you're a vagrant side-eye more than, oh, you're a hiker, that I'm used to amongst trail towns. And the guy at Whitfield Inn said, yeah, that's kind of the thing. Like if you're around more of the outfitter type shops, they know you. And one guy in the store last night was super excited. He thought I was doing the ECT. He was a little confused on ADT, ECT. But he was super excited to chat with me. But yeah, I don't know. Just feels like I've been getting weird looks. Maybe it's the long sleeve, brightly colored purple shirt. Jen absolutely loves this shirt and really likes me in it. So if it gets me a couple of weird looks, I can live with that. Been running into a bunch of northbounders today. It seemed like previously I would see a cluster of people early in the morning, probably stacking up under the big climbs, but at least today, oh, that is pretty. Yeah. Mount Ellen-ish. Skiing doesn't agree with my knees, unfortunately. So this is my only chance to get to see this stuff. So 3.5-ish miles up here on the ridge. This has been going a bit easier. Not easy, but no easy days. I guess that's sabering. I've noticed the leash thing seems to be ignored a lot. That's odd. Didn't think I was here yet. God, I love the views here. Okay. So from here, I'm dropping down to a shelter, fill up with water for the night. I doubt I'll make it down to Lincoln Gap unless the trail goes easier than I think. And then I am going to have to look kind of hard because there's a few longer water carries ahead from the looks of it. Okay, 5:20, that was a very good flowing water source. Chatted with the guy that was working there a bit. He said they are building a second shelter next to the old lean-to there to add extra capacity. I asked how common it was to be building extra shelters out here, and he said very much not common. They had one other recently. I was also asking what the budget was on something like that. He had no idea, but he was guessing most of the budget had to do with the airlift to get the wood and everything in. I am currently descending towards Lincoln Gap. Despite my knees being wimpy, I did get up and over that set of peaks pretty easily. It does look like the trick with this next section is mostly going to be water access. A couple of the shelters say they have trickles. People say it was challenging to collect. We'll see. Sometimes that's folks that just don't have like a good CNOC or Ziploc style bag to collect with, and they're trying to just do it with a big bottle. But we shall see. There was a lake I was hoping to align with. Unfortunately, unless this trail goes really easy for a couple hours, that's probably not going to work because it's about 19 miles away from me now. And there's no way I'm counting on, a reasonable day like that to get there. But I can still hit it as a water source and hopefully see. That guy was hoofing a thing of gasoline up. Apparently there was somebody coming up the other side with a bunch of wood. So yeah, hoping to at least stop by that Lake Pleiad. Somebody I met a while back spoke really, really highly of it. They saw otters swimming around. If I can get Tater's footage of otters swimming, she will be over the moon. Okay, I'm still before Lincoln Gap, but I made it further than I needed. Not as far as I would have liked. And my knees are just, I'm limping along. So I think I'm just going to stay here, and tomorrow's another day. Okay, good day, even if a hard one. Oh, stupid knees. They've actually been hurting more than usual today because I didn't stumble on a rock or anything. I stumbled on lip of a carpet or something in the B&B and just shocked my kneecap. Really painful, but I managed. I can hear voices in the distance. I'm assuming that's Lincoln Gap, unless the trail crew is like camped somewhere out here, but looked like there was a tent set up at the shelter. Either way, this should be pretty good. And if it's raining tomorrow, that should make the water situation a little better probably. Home sweet home. So on the plus side, I made an extra trip back to the store this morning and got yummy extra sharp cheddar. That is counteracting the fact that I've got to eat this crap for a couple of days. Oh well.